My name is Gregor Harper. I'm the CTO of a company called Sysorex. We are an IoT platform play in the sense that we provide sensors and analytics. Our sensors are passive. They track anything from 5 megahertz up to 8 gigahertz. They require nothing to be put on any handset device. We look at every single endpoint and we track its location down to a meter. I do it 375, every single day, all the time. And then we aggregate all of the analytic data up and provide it via APIs so that you can then sell data to your customers.
Gregor Bleimann, VP, Chief Commercial Officer for Telit, for the connectivity space within Telit. So overall, Telit, you probably know, is a module manufacturer, modules on the cellular side. We have GNSS, GPS modules. We just acquired a company for Bluetooth. So we're kind of extending that hardware offering. And then over the past 2-3 years, we've built a quite nice services business, which is on the connectivity side. And so that's the side that I kind of manage all the carrier relationships across that piece. And then also we have a very robust application platform. So really kind of end-to-end solutions for us, from all the way hardware through connectivity into the app and cloud.
My name is Phani, Pandrangi, and I'm the Chief Product Officer at Key. Essentially, Key, we focus on IoT solution enablement through 2 approaches. One is we have a horizontal platform that essentially allows you to create IoT solutions. It's a 3-layer platform. The bottom layer is about cloud enabling devices. The middle layer is the cloud backend to manage your users' data, devices, analytics, all of that. And then the top layer is basically API layer, so for you to create your web apps, mobile apps, and so on. So that's the horizontal platform approach. The other thing that we do is, on top of this platform, we also have what we call solution accelerators. So specifically for some of the vertical areas that we are focused on, we basically create everything that is needed for particular use cases. Some of the examples are smart agriculture accelerator, smart vending accelerator, and some stuff around smart cities as well.
Hi, I'm Bill Molesworth. I'm VP of Wireless at ORBCOMM, which means I run our wireless connectivity business. But ORBCOMM is I guess best known as a satellite provider. We've got a couple dozen spacecraft up there delivering purely IoT services. And we're also a full stack solutions provider. So we've got end-to-end solutions. There's some vertical markets that we're very specialized in: refrigeration, transportation, containers, things like that. And then we have a platform that people can use to develop on called IAP. But I run the wireless business.
Robert Scales, T-Mobile USA, IoT business development. I could Shelby Notes reporting to him, who just get a great overview of our company. So I don't want to run into that anymore.
So, the title of the session is about connectivity and platforms. And there are 2 things that are necessary to have a solution, but they mean different things to different people. So I'd really like to hear, what your definitions are when you hear that term connectivity and platforms, and what that means. For a company like ORBCOMM, it's going to mean something completely different than what Phani's doing, right? So maybe we'll start with you, Bill, and what does that term mean to you or 2 terms mean when you hear connectivity and platforms together?
Yep. So connectivity is kind of easy for us. We're a satellite provider and we specialize in IoT connectivity. We don't do any kind of voice or video or things like that. But we're also an end-to-end solutions provider. So we've got we manufacture hardware. We have web applications. We have transport in the form of cellular, and 7 cellular partners, 2 other satellite networks also. For me, it's just the entire IoT stack is, we kind of work with every single component of it. That's basically my view of it is the connectivity.
Okay. Phani?
Yeah, so, as you guys know, platform is such an overused term in the industry. So It helps to characterize. Our view of platform is essentially on solution enablement for IoT. Whether you're creating, a smart home solution or a smart city solution or anything in between, or wearable solutions or whatever, there are certain things that you just have to do. Beyond the solution logic and the solution experience, you have to basically figure out how to actually connect this device to some sort of a backend, and how you have to manage, all of the solutions backend, which is users, data, devices, notifications, all this kind of stuff, as well as develop apps, that users or some different stakeholders interface with, right? So from our point of view, that is what we are enabling. We are basically saying, hey, solution developer, focus on the solution logic, focus on the solution UI and experience. Let us handle the back-end aspect of it, like how this thing connects to the cloud, how it manages everything, data, users, devices, all of that stuff, and then how apps are created. Not only about providing the functionality, but also operating it, because we run on public cloud, we run on private data centers, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of our view of the platform. The other aspect in the title, connectivity, that we are pretty much agnostic about, right? So on the one hand, it could be like cellular, it could be Wi-Fi, it could be whatever from our point of view. Like we are kind of sitting on top. But there is actually a connection between, connectivity, from say a cellular provider's, point of view. They are thinking SIMs and SIM management, SIM enablement, disablement, billing, things like that. And where we sit, or at least where the solutions created on top of our platform sit, they're dealing with accounts, users, whatever is relevant to that particular solution. So there's a gap between, what carrier sees and what the solution provider sees. So to bridge that gap, we also have some frameworks in the platform that kind of do the subscription mapping so that billing can be, easily done and stuff like that.
Gregor?
Yeah, so we do both. Obviously, as I mentioned, connectivity for us is certainly we resell wireless cellular connectivity. So for us, that's straightforward kind of resell model. But it's basically a transport layer, right? As Phani said, it doesn't necessarily have to be cellular. For us, we have a very large business in the fab space called SecureWise through our application that is completely not wireless. It's all wired due to security and speed and those types of things. So for us, connectivity is again really just the transport layer that exists, and it can exist in the different aspects between the device, right, the application, if you will, and then the back end. So those can all be, of course, very, very different from a connectivity standpoint, and we support all of those. The platform is kind of the piece that allows you to develop, your application on top of that, and give you the information and the data, the analysis, all of that value add piece that will make your business model run as efficiently as possible. So.
Yeah, for me, it's very similar to the other companies in the sense that from a transport layer perspective, we're agnostic. It doesn't really make any difference. Most of our stuff is deployed for indoor positioning, and it is deployed by everybody from the U.S. State Department through every three-letter acronym you can think of on the security side, and hospitals and retail properties that want to know where patients are or where customers are on the commercial side. And so we provide and build the sensors, and then we build the platform that those sensors communicate on. And inside of that architecture, we provide everything from triggering to matching and analytics. But we expose all that in the data mining tool, so you can do whatever the heck you want with it. We're not trying to tell you how to do your business logic, but I will give you an efficient way to do it. So I'll deploy hip switches to hide our sensors and make it government secure, but you don't have to know about how a hip switch necessarily works. So you can take advantage of it immediately. So I guess for us, we're trying to provide more of the Lego pieces, and then where it becomes a real important component, like the analytics, we expose 100% of the data market. We give you a supercomputing analytic platform and access to it with all the data and say, here's how we would do it, but you should do whatever you want.
Robert?
And from a carrier perspective, I mean, to be honest, it's quite 50-50 for us. Obviously, we provide connectivity because we house a network, but the reality is, in the IoT space, a network is nothing without a platform. And one of the biggest obstacles we've had in the past, is not having, when we first started out, not having a platform for customers to access our network. So we look at, what we do as far as the network piece is a big component, but everything that these gentlemen have called out are just as important because, we have platforms that are internally built for us to access end users, like our M&M Hub, but just as important is we have platforms that enable companies like ORBCOMM to build into our internal platforms to access the network to get to the connectivity. So it's a 50-50 piece. While we specialize in one piece, we have to become experts in others or enabling others to bring platforms to us or connect to our existing platforms.
You talked a little bit about some of the differences of your customers, right? Mm-hmm. So let's dive into that a little bit more. Sure. The software guys, the makers of the world, have kind of been left out in the cold a little bit in the machine-to-machine world, and they're diving in with Raspberry Pi, things like that, in the makerspace world, and I guess the two norms in the dorm type scenario of building these companies, and that's what IoT is really about. Talk about how your organization enables those types of people, but also all the way through. Maybe share some other use cases of different customer types that you have.
Sure, no problem. So, for example, I'll definitely start with ORBCOMM here since they're a long-term partner. ORBCOMM is a satellite and a connectivity network as well. And ORBCOMM, came to us, 6-7 years ago, and they had the ideal of offering a dual mode satellite cellular offering. And what they've done is created the first that I've seen working in customers actually using platform that enables the customer to both do satellite, cellular, all in one platform. And that's done basically from internal platforms for customers like an ORBCOMM that are sophisticated, that have their own platform, that have their own customer base, that have their own solutions, but we work to enable them to tap into our billing platform, our data networks, our backhauls, in order to bring the solutions to life. So that's one aspect. But then there's, the software piece, as you said, is, it's becoming a really big piece of the puzzle. And for scenarios like that, we've worked with new partnerships with companies like Twilio that can enable developers who are starting out with new, absolute, from scratch solutions, software, however they exist in the cellular world, but we want to, we've enabled them to pipe into our network with a set of APIs and give basically customers the ability to develop in a comfortable environment until they're ready to go to market. Or in fact, once they're there, they have the ability to grow and use a very, very customized platform that is very high tech and enables that serenity, that basically ecosystem for them to grow. So it's a very big piece, and that's how we look forward to attacking the market.
How about some customer use cases from you, Bill?
So we have elements of a platform company. We have an enablement platform. We have a hardware division. We make hardware, and we're a network provider. 7 networks and 3 satellite networks, and that's a plug there. But it depends on the use case, right? So we've got heavy equipment use cases, refrigerator transport use cases, and it's a very different hardware. It's a very different software platform. The trick is finding out the commonality. And then making that so that you can take, they both use geofences, right? But so taking those capabilities and making those available to VARs and partners that are using that infrastructure to develop their own applications is key and helps people get to market really fast as well. But we're really agnostic. The dual mode example was a good example. Taking a cellular network, satellite network. The point is you always have to be connected. You want to do it as cost efficiently as you can. So you don't want to send megabytes over satellite. You don't want to use T-Mobile for that. But when you're out of coverage, use that satellite and just do it very efficiently. That way you can give the highest uptime and things like that.
Phani?
Yeah, so as I said, we have both the horizontal solution enablement platform as well as vertical solution framework. So I'll give examples on both sides. But first, I want to answer the question of how are you enabling the tech people, the makers, the solution developers. By definition, the platform, is, because of the API layer, we are essentially providing all of this functionality enabled through APIs so that, these developers can create, all kinds of things, So essentially we are enabling them through these APIs, and the platform, just the horizontal platform itself has over 30,000 developers right now on the platform. On the solution framework side as well, we are enabling them because, in our world, the solution frameworks are essentially providing, the data models, the APIs, the rules, policies, things like that for specific verticals. So if you kind of have all these solution frameworks, as a developer, you can basically pick a couple of areas and then create mashups. That's the kind of enablement we are doing on that side. So quickly, examples on the platform side. One of the examples is KDDI, a carrier in Japan. They basically put our platform on their private data center, on their infrastructure as a service, their own private infrastructure, and they're supporting about 2,000 enterprise customers, developing everything from IoT solutions to mobile solutions. So that's just purely platform deployed on infrastructure. Other examples are like Kyocera and Toshiba. They're developing, these are device manufacturer type of examples. They're developing specific, IoT solutions. Omron is another example, which is also developing solutions on top of the platform. On the solution framework side, we have customers, for example, vending. On smart vending side, we have a customer who is basically providing some of the hardware aspects of smart vending, and we are providing through our framework, the software side. Another example is our solution frameworks in smart cities, and there are a handful of cities that are actually using our smart city frameworks to actually jumpstart their smart city initiatives.
Yeah, James. So we have a quite horizontal platform which we call DeviceWise. The ideal is that you mentioned Raspberry Pi and Arduino. Caught myself there. So those units could have the DeviceWise agent on them, and literally with a click or two, you can be running on our platform, already developing, connecting into your servers and that type of a thing. So we really strive for very easy device connection. We have, on the industrial side, we have thousands of PLCs and different types of industrial asset gateways and those types of things that already have our agent in them. We're working with Cisco on a number of products that have our agent in it. So making it very, very easy to get onto a platform to develop without trying to figure out the protocol translation of your device into the platform and then further on. So a really nice example that we have with one of our customers called Telit. So Telit is one of the leaders in the industrial cleaning equipment space. So you probably see them running around out here, right? A little guy, almost like a mini Zamboni, right, on his cleaning device. So very, expensive. So we worked with Telit. They have our modules. They use our connectivity, and they have a platform. So something we call a triple play within our company. But they were able to basically develop that application extraordinarily quick because they use our module. They actually also, and our platform, they actually have the ability to do a lot of over-the-air. They can get access into the module through AT commands over the air, so can download new firmware, device management, all of that type of stuff. But they've actually transformed their business model into one where they're not just selling equipment, but they're actually selling services. So now they've got a monthly recurring revenue base of services where they can tell their customers, what's going on with that machine, where is it? Believe it or not, they actually lose those big cleaning machines. They might be sitting in a closet somewhere that they've forgotten. So they've literally transformed their business model into additional revenue, different types of revenue, and it's been very good for them.
Examples of the platform and customers. I guess the biggest one that would surprise you would be an outfit out of Wisconsin that is deploying pre-made worker camps and compounds in Daruna to provide human rights, to improve human rights for the workers there. So they come in with these like almost pre-made hotels. And we're not talking small, they're 40,000 people. And they drop them in place, they set them up, they deploy all our sensors. Everybody gets a AirPass card that has NFC, near field communication chip, a MIFI chip, and a RFID chip built into it already, pre-integrated. And then they write to the APIs. They connect their own CRM systems and medical record engines. But we stand up a camp in about 4 weeks for 40,000 workers and take them out of the mud pits and put them in a hotel room. Essentially what it does. It's absolutely amazing to see. And I never thought that our stuff would be used to drive smart cities, but when you can locate any radio within 1 meter, pretty much you can suddenly start turning on and off HVAC. You can track when all those people are coming in, and we're talking Daruna, and it's really hot there. I don't know if you guys realize this. So HVAC costs a fortune. Another example is in hospitals, because we track every single burst above the noise floor for any RF signal from 5 to 8 gigahertz, from 5 megahertz to 8 gigahertz. When you walk into a hospital and they go, well, we know we have a system that tracks that stuff, but we can't tell what floor it's on. And you turn our system on and then they can see absolutely everything. 80, 90, 100 infusion pumps, 4 floors down that haven't been circulated because they didn't know. So we've got customers now that are writing their asset tracking software into our sensor technology. And basically, if you know a REST API and you can write a little bit of REST, a little bit of JSON, you're in business. So it's probably not as sophisticated as these guys' platforms, but it'll get the job done.
Great. Let's thank this panel for their time. It was great. Thank you very much.